Hello, 8th graders. Today we're going to be moving on from our last test, which was slope-intercept. And so what we're doing is going to be a little bit similar. We're just trying to get it into the formula that we're used to. So everything we do today, we're trying to get it to say y equals mx plus b. So our goal for the day is that. Get every formula, or every standard form we get. Now the standard form, we'll go on to in a little bit, but what you're going to need to be doing today is you should have a printout worksheet of the problems we're doing. I'm going to do 1 through 7 with you. If you don't, if there's some reason we weren't able to get copies, I just need you to write down each problem. Okay, so you'll need your pencil, a piece of paper, or the worksheet, and you're going to need your calculator. So standard form. Standard form is when you've got it kind of set up to where it's equal to a number at the end, and it's got x and y together on the same side. Now, if you remember a little bit, and let me erase this y because that's kind of ugly. If you remember from standard form, we're trying to get it to say y equals mx plus b. So every time we get standard form, we're really just trying to, let me fix that. We're trying to get y by itself. So once we've got y by itself, it should be set up for us to use in another manner. So I'm going to draw my line here. And like I said, my goal is to get that by itself, even without the 7. So my first step is to subtract 10x. Now the reason we don't divide there is because we want the x to go with the 10. If I divide, the x stays over there. So, cancels out. Now I have negative 7y equals negative 10x minus 8. Now, if you notice, I still don't have y by itself because that 7's there. So what I need to get rid of next is just the negative 7. And now that the negative 7 is right next to it, I'm going to divide. And when you divide, you have to divide everything. Okay, so that cancels out, and I have y equals, well, neither of those is going to make a pretty fraction, but you also want to keep it as a fraction and not a decimal. So this just becomes 10 over 7x, and it's positive because we had negative negative. This over here, we have negative negative again, so it's going to be plus 8/7. Okay, and that is our slope-intercept form. We have y equals mx plus b. So we've got all our components right there. And it's not always going to look this ugly with all the fractions and stuff. As math teachers, we kind of prefer it to be the other way, but you need to recognize that it can be an ugly fraction instead. Now, this one's a little bit more basic. Like I said earlier, y equals mx plus b. Well, y is right there, so it's on the right side. So I just need to get rid of the 8x. So to move 8 and x, I need to do minus 8x on both sides. I forgot to draw my line first. So y is here, and we end up, let me erase this so it doesn't confuse you. We end up right there with y equals mx plus b. Now, the reason we're not combining these, I hope you guys remember, it's because 8 has an x and 9 does not. So what we call a variable with an x, we call that a variable with a coefficient. And then the one you call without a variable, it's called a constant. Okay? And that's from 6th grade. That's just a little bit of review, but we got to remember that we can't combine these. Because you don't want to end up with, if you say that y equals 1x, that's not the correct answer, because we're not allowed to combine those two numbers. Now number 3 right here. Draw my line. I have y right there, so my goal is to get it by itself. So the first thing I'm actually going to move is just x. And x is not doing anything. So don't let it mislead you. You're just going to subtract x on both sides. You have 6y equals negative x minus 2. Okay? Now, the last thing I need to get rid of is 6, because 6 cannot be next to y. We need it to be separate. So, divide by 6, and everything gets divided. So, y equals negative 1/6 x. And we know that because when there's not a number in front of the x, it's a 1. Minus, instead of putting negative 2/6, I'm going to change it to 1/3 because it does simplify. And that is my slope-intercept form for number 3. And at any time, if I'm going too fast, I'm sure Miss Edwards will pause the video so you can get down to writing the whole thing. I know some of us need a little bit of extra help or need a little bit of extra time, so please just advocate for yourself. Hey, can you please pause it real quick? Number 4. Silly thing. There we go. Number 4. Okay, so I got a lot going on over here with y. I have to get rid of 3. I have to get rid of 4x. It's just a lot going on. So my first step, subtract 4x. Okay? And that gives me 3y equals, I can't combine those, so it's negative 4x plus 9. And I know that it's a plus because 9's not negative, so it's got to be plus. I don't want that arrow there. Okay, one thing left, and that's to get rid of 3, so I'm going to have to divide by 3. And this one's going to end up looking a lot more like one you're used to. Y equals negative 4 over 3, which is my slope, x plus 9 over 3 simplifies to 3. Okay, so I have y equals mx plus b. So all my components are there. It is in slope form. Number 5. 3x plus 12y equals negative 8. This y needs to be by itself. So, minus 3x, a lot of these you end up doing the same steps over and over again. I have 12y equals negative 3x minus 8. And again, I have something right next to 12. So I'm going to, right next to y. So I'm going to divide by 12. Divide everything over here. Y equals negative 3 over 12. Yes, it does simplify to 1/4, and it is negative. X minus, this one is also going to simplify to 2/3. Because 4 goes into 8 twice, and 4 goes into 12 3 times. So negative 2/3. Okay, this one should be pretty simple as well. I'm going to have to subtract x from both sides. And I've got 2y equals negative x minus 8. Now, I still have something next to y, and that's 2, so I'm going to divide everything by 2. Everything. Y equals, remember that if there's not a number in front of the x, it's a 1. So 1 divided by 2 will stay as negative 1/2 x. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And then 8 divided by 2 is going to become 4. So there's our slope-intercept form for number 6. Number 7. Draw my line. I've got to get rid of 11x, and I've got to get rid of negative 8 in front of the y. So I need to subtract 11x from both sides. That's not a pretty 11. I blame society. There you go. Negative 8y equals negative 11x plus 3. Okay. Still need to get negative 8 away from it, so I'm going to divide. And I'm going to have to divide everything. So, cancels out. Two negatives make a positive, so that's 11/8 x. And that cannot simplify besides becoming a mixed number, and we don't want that. And then I have a positive and a negative here, so it's going to become negative. So it means minus 3/8. Okay. I hope that this video was very helpful for you. You're now going to do number 8 through 10 independently, or if Miss Edwards feels that you're working really, really hard, I will allow you to do it in groups of 2. Okay? Just make sure if you go to move desks and everything that you don't you give a warning to Bree so she doesn't have to hurt her ears. Okay? So independently or in groups of 2, you're only going to have to do 3 problems. Hope you guys have a good day.